Hey, I'm back, and I got another slew of TwoSuns that have come in over the past couple of days, one of which I haven't opened yet, so I'm going to save that one till the end here. Let's see, the first one that I have up here is a Wong design. This is a TS102 Micarta. And, yep, you can see it's their standard burlappy sort of stuff. It's got that micro milling on there, though. That's a little bit different than they kind of used to be. This one's pretty interesting. Very subdued flipper tab. There's no jimping on it or anything like that. As a result, the detent on this one isn't incredibly strong to facilitate that coming open. And works pretty darn well. You can see I've actually been using it. I got like tape glue and stuff like that all over it. This guy also does have a finger choil. This one's just a little bit smaller than I've come to expect from a lot of Wong designs. But this is also basically like a 3-finger knife. This does have their doubled over deep carry clip though. So if I'm trying to get a full 4-finger grip in that hammer grip, that's actually really uncomfortable, which is a little unfortunate. But doing it in a little bit more of a saber grip, and especially if you're using a finger choil, if you have some normal sized hands or something like that, this thing is pretty darn good as far as that goes, and really nice in a pinch grip. And because this extends down quite a bit, you actually do have some knuckle clearance when you're cutting down onto something. Not crazy like a chef's knife, but you do have a bit more than you would otherwise. This one does remind me a bit of, let's see if I can't find it. It's a Muslim Mukhtar design. There we go, the Humpback. I mean, obviously this thing is much larger as far as, well, the handle, I guess. But yeah, same kind of thing. Very, very nice pointy blade. That's very gradual drop point. All sorts of belly. Does a really good job at doing a lot of cutting though. I do like it quite a bit, just not in a that hammer grip sort of thing, and that's mostly due to this pocket clip. I'm not sure if this one had other variants. I kind of assumed that it would. It was probably a titanium frame lock or something like that. Several years ago at this point, because I haven't seen the original on it. And that might make just a little bit more sense. This guy is super thick. It's 0.68 of an inch thick. It's got steel liners, and they are coated with something. It's more, it very much matches the micarta there. They do have, as a result, on the inside, they do have the bearing races, but they kind of cheaped out just a little bit. Okay, I was very much wrong. This is a night morning design, not a Wong design, and that would absolutely explain the smaller finger choil there. So, oops, we're off to a fantastic start. All right, well, I'll go ahead and keep that in because, humbleness and all of that sort of stuff. Yep, this one's in D2. Yeah, like I was saying, super thick handles on here. With the liners being coated, they do have the bearing races in there, but they don't have the groove. They're just a flat bearing piece or whatnot. And as such, it's not the most fall shutty thing out of the box, but still very, very nice and smooth. You can hear, here, I'll try and deploy it up to the microphone. You can hear some of that more satiny kind of feel that's going on the bearing there on the inside. So that'll either wear in a little bit over time or, elsewise. It's got an internal stop pin on there, but it does have that cutout there in the front that I'm not exactly the most crazy about, but this seems to be all right. This also has like some shadow box liners to it, but it's very subtle, so it really doesn't bother me, as I can't really feel a two little shark fins sticking up. Instead, I am actually making full contact with my thumb. So there is that. This one has some interesting construction going on to it, whereas I will probably get into that a little bit in a full review of this thing. But you know, you will take the scales off there by this screw and this screw. What is different is these screws on the back are actually not the Chicago screw that holds the back part on. They just hold the scale on, and there's more hidden screws inside. Probably why this thing is so thick, they could hide some of those in there. But, all right, yeah. So that's a night morning design, not a Wong design, D2. I'll set that up top here. The next one, I didn't think I was ever going to get my hands on, but someone did offer it to me at a price that, while probably a little irresponsible, I did decide to go ahead and get it, and that is TS329 Vandal. This is the one from LTK, Love Them Knives. Lee, I don't remember his last name off the top of my head, and Max Chachuk design, kind of collaboration there. Button lock. There we go. We got a stonewash blade. And from the top here to the tip, we got 3.9 inches on that. You know, I could see definitely trying to measure from the back here there. You would probably get 4-inch blade or something like that. This thing is quite enormous in the hand. Very comfortable for me. I like that. The finger choil, not big enough for me, but that doesn't really particularly matter one way or the other there. The action on it's very nice. We have Vandal kind of stamped in the titanium backspacer. That goes all the way, and we see we got a stop pin both in the open and closed position. That's not on the blade. A concealed screw pocket clip with a little ceramic ball. I'm actually so far having difficulties getting this thing into my pocket. Your mileage may vary on that, I think. It probably depends on, you know, if the ceramic ball is actually moving or something like that. But I would like just a little bit more of a ramp before it gets there. That's okay. On the inside, let's see, where is my flashing light? There we go. We can see we have a little blade groove in the backspacer there so that it can be just a little bit deeper without having problems. Stupid good action because it's riding on multi-row bearings. It did need a little bit of a tuning up once I got it from a person. This is, you know, technically I did buy it used, but it's basically been fondled with and not really cut or anything like that. I can't quite say that because when I got it, the blade was not, it felt like it had a little bit of a roll going on to it. So I'm guessing somebody probably cut a couple of things with that. That's perfectly fine. I don't really care. But I did kind of strap that back up. And yeah, it's super nice. I haven't sharpened any of these guys in the video yet because I've, well, just got them in the last couple of days or so. But yeah, this thing is 0.63 of an inch, so a little bit thinner than that last one that I took a look at. But yes, this is over 6 ounces. This is 6.3 ounces or 178.5 grams. The blade stock thickness on it is 3.8 millimeters, so it's not the absolute thickest thing that TwoSun's ever put out. In fact, this one's actually thicker at 3.9. So how about that? Oh yeah, this one's just a touch over 3 inches, since I didn't cover that earlier, so there you go. This is the Vandal. This is in 14C28N. On the inside, I don't... Yeah, there's no real great way to see that, but on the inside, they do have engraved in the titanium both Max Chachuk as well as LTK's kind of logos or maker's mark, as well as 14C28N to specify the steel, because it's not written on the blade, because I wanted to keep that pretty billboard free. Not quite as much as some Mokhtars, but hey, it's still great. They did a really good job on the stonewash finish on that. This has a drop point, and basically the whole blade is canted just a little bit down, which is great. It gives even more access to that belly for starting a lot of cuts and everything. You can really get a lot of power in this. I really do like it for a very large knife. This feels a little bit more like a cold steel kind of design rather than a lot of other knives, especially that Max Jacek has made. So that's kind of interesting. Yeah, like something that I do kind of want to address with this one, though. Supposedly, they're only making 50 of these. And, well, there's a couple of things around that I don't like. First off is the limited production, just because they can limit it. That's getting really into that Spyderco territory that I really hate, and that's why, the first few of these ended up selling at auction on eBay well over $700, which is just ridiculous. So there's that. It's not exactly my favorite thing. I don't know if that was TwoSun's idea or if that was part of Max and LTK kind of things there. Not sure, but not the absolute greatest thing. And shoot, I lost track, but that was definitely, yeah. There's only 50 of these made. So yeah, I'm guessing probably a lot of the resale value on it's probably going to be a lot higher than I think the knife itself is probably worth going against the rest of TwoSun's catalog. So keep that in mind there. All right, the next one we got up here was one that I was super excited to get my hands on, and I think a couple other people are interested as well. It is the TS381. This guy is all murdered out. This is a Tepe design. It's an M390. I have number 4, so that's nice. We have a fully crowned spine here, very Italian in that kind of way. It's not the first knife that they've done that on. I think the 273, the one with a whole bunch of circles on it, had some crowning sort of stuff going on there. But yeah, very comfortable because of that. The flipper tab works quite nice and isn't enormous. Kind of sticks up a little bit instead of out. So that's nice. And you also have this hole here that works really, really well for a Spidey flick. What is super nice about this thing is it's actually quite thin. We got 0.44 of an inch there, so it's thinner than a PM2 by quite a bit there. We got a pocket clip that's very Tepe looking and works out all right. I don't really have any problems with it going in or out of my pocket. And the action on it isn't exactly the absolute best. I've kind of tweaked it to get it quite a bit better than it was out of the factory. But that has to do with both the blacking on the blade as well as, well, not on the liners necessarily because it's not actually touching those. Because it's riding on bearing races. But there we go. So this thing does, unfortunately, though, have a couple of kind of negatives to it. The first off is the blade is very, very exposed at the very top there. Very easy to touch that. Not something that I think you would end up cutting yourself on if you failed the deploy on it. But still, it is something that TwoSun seems to do with a lot of their models, and it just isn't necessary, I don't think. And the other thing, which doesn't really happen during normal use, and I don't know if it's this one in particular or not, but I found it when I was kind of testing for blade play, is the lockup on this. Right here, you can see, yeah, it's fairly early, but still very, very secure. However, oops. It can easily go all the way over. And at that point, you do need to pry it back or whatnot. Like I said, unless you are absolutely squeezing the ever-loving crap out of this thing, that's not going to happen. But it's still not really good to see. Yeah, like I was saying, about the only way that that's really going to happen is if you are really going crazy on there. Like I was squeezing quite hard on there, and that's not really it. So you would have to be like in a cut and kind of twisting to be able to add a lot more lateral force on there. But it still is a negative, unfortunately. So, I'd at least have to mention that. This one's got that finger choil there. No jumping on the top, but like I said, it does have that crown spine on it. So there's a lot of great things going for this thing. We got just a hair under 3.5 inches. We got 3.49 inches on here. And it's, well, as near as makes no difference, the exact same amount of ounces. We got 3.5 ounces, or I think I rounded just up to it, or 99 grams. So there you go. The blade stock thickness on this is actually quite high at a little over 4 millimeters. I measured it at 4.05, but that's probably, it started out at 4 and then they added the coating on there. That being said, though, the grind on it is quite nice. So there's that. I really don't have any problems with the cutting performance on this guy so far. It's quite nice. I just don't particularly like the lockbar being able to slide over a little bit further. I'm sure there's probably some sort of way that I can work on kind of fixing that up a little bit. But, you know, I'll look into that a little bit. But if not, I did actually buy this one from eBay, so I can actually contact the seller and see if they have anything. You know, quite possibly might be something as mundane as the stainless steel insert being just a tiny bit shorter than it probably should have been, or something like that. Or, you know, some other sort of thing that might be super easy. Not sure, but yeah, we'll see how that goes. I'll keep y'all posted within other videos and everything on that. But okay, here is the last one that I have up, and I have not opened it. This should be the TS326. It's another big dog. This one is from Santos Knives. Yeah, I'll just grab this guy. Why not? I've been using them a lot. And yeah, this is the weird one that has the pocket clip basically like in the center of it. Oh, let's see. Where is my microfiber? Get some of this extra grease and whatnot off of here. All right, first flip, kerchunk. Hey, it's a little shorter than I thought it was. This is still quite a large blade. I'm sure a lot of people probably completely dismiss this guy because it does have a pocket clip that I guess for all intents and purposes is, you know, tip down carry instead of tip up, which is what most people are quite used to these days, myself included. But hey, because of that, this was one of the, not the first, but one of the first that was released. And I was able to get it for, I think it was just a touch over 80 bucks. So, hey, that's nice. Nice titanium frame lock flipper. Yep, you can see it's in 14C28N as well. I do like that they're starting to actually put the model numbers somewhere on the blade tang. I haven't seen that on most of these yet. I mean, obviously that one has it on the inside there. But some of the very, very new models are kind of putting it around that blade tang along with the blade steel. I do like that, and it's just easier to recognize something at a glance rather than having to constantly refer to my Excel spreadsheet that I make for all of these things here. Yep, that is definitely a sharpening choil. It's not a finger choil unless you are a baby, in which case you probably shouldn't have knives, and much less one of this size. So hey, it's got a very, very gradual plunge grind, but it looks like it ends about there. So hey, the sharpening choil looks like it's doing its job pretty darn well. Got a little bit of a recurve going on here, and then a nice bit of belly. We have a little bit of a harpoon tip out there, which probably helps if you do want to use that kind of accuser point sort of thing for doing some cuts. But this is basically with that harpoon kind of bringing the tip back up there. Mostly a straight back knife, so it's not a drop point or anything like that. So if you are trying to get to the very, very tip down onto a cutting surface or something, you're going to be definitely having your arm at, you know, a 90-degree angle or something else. Sorry. I just felt goofy and wanted to share that with y'all. So there's that. These fullers here, I will say it's vaguely phallic in one way or another. We kind of have some gonads out here and some extension of said genitalia kind of going up there. I don't know. That's just kind of the first thing that came to my mind. I don't necessarily know if that's accurate to what they wanted or anything. Doesn't look like a lockbar access, but we do have the chamfering there. I don't really have any problems getting that open or closed, but that fuller is for the most part completely closed up. So, unless you had like, I don't know, a needle on the end of your fingers, you're not going to be able to get in there to use that as a deployment. But, yep, definitely have that. Oh, you got the little chamfering in the back there for the landing pad for your finger after you've light switch flicked it open. So that's kind of nice. I do like how much of the back spacer, that's the word I'm looking for. Yeah, I do like kind of longer, more extended back spacers. Especially on TwoSun designs that tend to have the blades way up here, like this guy that I was complaining about. This one is very, very nice and buried in there, so yeah, super nice and safe. And yeah, the ergonomics on it are quite nice. Pretty darn comfortable. It's obviously not super crazy neutral, but the curves are basically everywhere that I would want a curve to be. Yeah, I do like this guy quite a bit. I'll still have to play around with it and see how much I love or hate the pocket clip being a little bit more centralized and tipped down. But at least as a result, that pocket clip doesn't really end up feeling uncomfortable while I have it in my hand. So that's nice. I would probably have preferred, since they just have that drilled in there, they could have easily had it be able to be mounted on the left side for, the few lefties out there. I'm not one of them, but from time to time I do carry a knife on my offhand side, and so that's generally why I got this Spyderco Endura 4 with the pocket clip on the other side, just so I can carry it over there. But, okay, I haven't done any measurements on here, obviously. You just saw me open it up, so how about if we go ahead and start that off with some weights. 5.365 ounces, or 152 grams. Yeah, it is not a dainty child by any stretch. But that's okay. Unless, of course, you're really, really looking for a very, very lightweight knife. That's a perfect one for you there. Okay, let's see. I am on millimeters. So, hey, we got 3.7 millimeters for the blade stock thickness. So a little thinner than TwoSun does on some stuff. Like to see that. Oh, yeah. Grind is a little bit thinner than I end up feeling from most TwoSuns. So that's nice. Pretty darn slicey profile there. Which is interesting. So this has to be fairly darn aggressive of a grind because it's a high saber grind rather than a full flat or something like that. So interesting. All right, let's see. Oops, don't turn it off. I want to go to inches, and I missed it. There we go. How thick is this guy here? Stupid. All right, I'll go back here. Just a hair under 0.6 of an inch. So, yeah, not crazy thin. And the blade. How about that blade? Just a touch over 3.5 inches, 3.56 from up here. They would probably measure it from down there, but hey, you can't really sink something in past here because the handle's in the way. So, yeah, that's the way I end up measuring that. I'm actually surprised at this one. I thought I might not like it all that much. It definitely does have some... it's very stylized, I'll certainly say that. Which, hey, some people are going to like, some people aren't. And that's perfectly fine. Because TwoSun makes, I don't know, seems like a new model every 2 weeks. So if something new that comes out like this doesn't strike your fancy, hey, something else probably will. All right. Last thing I have up here was I did the best test cutting on these guys already, so I won't redo those while I'm on here. But I did get basically 205 grams on that one. I got about 235 on this guy here. This will definitely be changed up if I end up keeping this thing rather than having it returned for a replacement or something like that. Because I do like to get my M390 on at 15 degrees. And this guy right here was kind of right there in the middle. This was about 220. So they're pretty darn consistent with their edges right now. Let's see if this one kind of gets there. I already have it threaded up and ready to go. Yeah, I can turn the light on just so it's even more contrast. There we go. $225, right in that same range. And these guys, because of that, it's a really, really good edge. It's nice. I haven't cut with this guy yet, but obviously I have cut with these two that were straight out of the box, and they do cut quite nice. Some reason why I end up sharpening a lot of knives, well, I sharpen almost all of them once I get them, and I will probably do that with all of these two. Yeah, this one, I do plan on keeping a hold of it. As this is a company that I appreciate and have made quite a lot of videos on, so I do want to hold on to it. Doesn't mean that it's not going to get used, though. Yeah, I don't have safe queens. That's the way that is. But yeah, the 200 or so is pretty darn good. Once I finish ending up doing my own little sharpening jobs on there with my Work Sharp Precision Edge and whatnot, they end up being somewhere around 150 to 160. That seems to be right around my average after that and stropping it and all of that sort of good stuff. And for some knives that end up coming out of the factories fairly obtuse, that is definitely a benefit for me. These guys, I could take it or leave it, but I still do enjoy having my own edge on them, just because, well, it feels nice to me. Just glides through just a little bit nicer. And depending on how they're sharpened, obviously that might take down their edge retention just a little bit. But I am definitely willing to make that kind of trade-off there. Much better than having a knife sharpened to like 25 or 28 degrees or something like that, where it almost feels like you're cutting with an axe. But, okay, I guess the last thing up that I can do, I can basically open up these guys here. I'll kind of put this down towards the bottom. And then I can do some knife comparison sort of things going on here. So here's the Endura against that 102. And yeah, very much larger, obviously. And there we go against the 326. And then the 329 there. Hey, fairly similar. This is probably right around the size of a police. The blade might be just a little bit shorter than that. And of course, there we go. There's the 381. I can do the same thing here with the PM2. That seems to be what more people are all sorts of into these days. Probably could have aligned these just a little bit better. So, yeah, there we go. and yes, my very much loved and abused 940. If I haven't mentioned it, somebody did mention it in the comments a couple of days ago. Yeah, this knife is like 20 years old, and I've carried it pretty hard and heavily over probably about 17 of that. And I've also taught myself how to sharpen several different techniques on this with diamond stones and belt grinders and all sorts of other stuff. So this was kind of like a learner blade. That being said, basically the blade should be just a little bit longer on there, but hey, what are you gonna do? At least I still have it, and hey, this knife is now 20 years old. It was brand new, like just recently released, 21 years ago in the year 2000, but I picked mine up a little bit later than that, in 2001. It is pretty darn similar to this 102, though, so hey, there you go with that. And I guess if you want something a little bit cheaper for comparison, here's the rat number 1. That's larger than that 381, smaller than the 329 Vandal, pretty close to that 329, and obviously a bit larger than the 102 here. So, all right. At this particular point, can't see anything else that I need to cover that I can't cover yet because I haven't really, fully carried and used these guys enough to give my full opinions on them yet. So I will certainly do that when I actually get around to that and when they come up on TwoSun Tuesdays and stuff like that. But, a lot of people do like these kind of first looks and impressions kind of things going on here. So there's that. I do have a couple more coming to me that I don't have yet, but I should by, I don't know, the end of the month here, the end of November. That being the TS380 and 385 I have coming to me. I also have a Gonzo, I think the FH923. I took a look at the 922, that kind of elliptical one that was very Ray Laconico-esque in its design. And a 6-leaf, the SL09, which is a G10 D2 flipper. Haven't seen anything on the SL08. I guess whatever that is hasn't hit production yet. But hey, at this point, I have the rest of them. Well, almost. Those two itty-bitty tiny fixed blades in 440C. I ended up purchasing them. They haven't gotten to me yet, but hey, they were like, I think $8 and $13. And they do come with some leather sheaths on them instead of some funky plastic that's trying to be Kydex or something like that. So they should be interesting to take a look at. But yes, of course, I have rambled on far too long. So yeah, I appreciate y'all for watching, especially if you made it this far. As always, all of these knives will have measurements and everything like that down in the description. So, as always, I appreciate y'all for watching, and have yourself a wonderful rest of your day, yo. Love it, have a scrim.